Yeah, we're back. We ran out of movie storage, so we're going to start up where we left off. Okay, that's great. Another concern I had is about your IEP students. Are they getting the same curriculum as your regular ed students within the class?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
So it's a UDL approach, so Universal Design for Learning, so that all students are, we all have the same lesson. It's made accessible and the barriers are broken for students that are high level, low level, or anyone that's in between. So it's preset for all the needs of the
And they get the same papers, the same sheets.
Absolutely.
And did you call on them in class? Did they raise their hands?
I did. And I don't want you to misunderstand though, when the students complete the assignments, they're all expected to try to put in all of those 8 changes. I know that for some of the students, their use of transition words, their use of adjectives aren't as complex as the ones as the higher level students in the class, but they're still expected to have those pieces even if they look more simplistic.
Okay, good. And my last concern is about the bouncy balls.
Yes.
Can you just explain to me what they're doing? Like, what's your motivation for them?
So this is actually, it's a motivation for my SMART goal, which is for students to kind of reach further in their studying, to really want to reach. So basically what happens is I give an extra math assignment every week, and then students work on these assignments. They're very challenging math problems, so you could probably do 1 or 2 a night, and then that paper is due on Friday for anyone who is reaching for that extra piece. And then there's a lottery on Friday for whoever did it. Then we pick from those numbers, and we have 7 donated ball chairs in our classroom. And then so the parents donated them in, and then we pick from those, and then every week different students, have earned their right to have the ball chair. I just want to make sure they're safe. They're not bouncing out of control. They're not falling back. They're not being distracted. I do try to be aware, but I don't always catch.
I'm sure there's rules that go with having them.
There are, and the warnings. So if this child is bouncing out of control, which I know she was bouncing and she was writing their sight line, usually I can give a signal and they calm down. If they've been asked 3 times throughout the week to please calm down, then the ball chair is actually removed and they go back to their regular seat. Okay. Has there been
an instance where a student has done his or her extra math the entire year so far, but has not been chosen?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay. No. I just wanted to make sure at least everyone has a turn. I know you do a true lottery probably.
I do.
Okay. Excellent. So I have no other concerns. I agree. Like I said, now I'm going to throw a little bit, I'm going to ask for your feedback regarding the lesson. So I have some predetermined questions, which I shared with you earlier. So here's the first one. How do you think the lesson went?
I think the lesson went well. It was my first time presenting to the class the idea of a pre-written paragraph that needed to be edited and revised. I was a little bit anxious about how the children were going to react to it, but I was happy to see that they reacted very well. And it actually gave me a great starting point to start a piece of writing, as opposed to starting writing from the ground floor up. This was a nice way for me to say it was a finished piece of writing, and then now we're going to revise and edit it. So it put us all at the same base. So then when I get the paragraphs back, it'll be nice to see the variety that just came off of one piece. So I was very happy to. And very proud to see all the different techniques that the students did remember and knew needed to be in my writing. They could quickly see that I was missing those details.
It's very noticeable that they did know their techniques. As you reflect on the lesson, to what extent were the students productively engaged? And how did you determine this?
Well, I feel like they were all engaged. Obviously, this part of the lesson that you could really see was the part that they were, engaging in the speaking and listening piece of it when we look at the language piece. So the kids were very engaged. I felt that, the kids had raised their hand. There were some kids boarding out and some kids getting out of their seat. They were so excited to share with me something that they wanted to put in to the lesson, which I thought was nice. But for the most part, I feel like that the instructional objectives were met, and that I felt that it was obvious from the feedback of the students answering the questions that I was meeting the expectations.
Excellent. Did the students learn what you intended for them to learn?
I think so. Like, the intention is, ultimately that we are revising and checking our work over for all of these things naturally. I felt that they were so quick to come up with what needed to be changed even after I explained to them that it was a correct paragraph. It had all the proper pieces, it did have a transition, it had all proper capitals and punctuation, it had a topic sentence, a closing sentence, and it had 3 details in between. So I was happy to see that they could see past the organizational structure, which is where at this point in our writing, we're all very strong. They know what a paragraph should look like. Now it's adding in that extra detail to make sure that we are now creating a good piece of writing, not just an organized piece of writing. So I felt, yes, that where we are in the school year and that these standards are year-long, that we're at a good jump.
Right, they were quick to jump all over you about the bad paragraph. They were like, that's bad. This not bad, but there's gonna be more detail in it.
Right.
They were ready to jump.
All over me.
They were all over me.
And I was happy because they could see past the good piece of the paragraph, which was the organization, which was good, and then saw that there were definite misses. And I'm glad. I am glad.
Cool. So I assume that your instructional objectives were met in this during our pre-observation meeting.
Yes.
I mean, they were able to rattle off the 8 techniques. They were able to correct their spelling. They were able to talk about transition and sentences and verbs and adjectives, which was, I know that was your objective going in. So excellent. Would you alter your lesson if you were to teach it again?
I don't think so.
To the same group of students?
Yeah, no, I think that I would roll with it the same, and in fact, I probably will do another similar lesson. I'll probably teach a few more techniques and then say come January, February, put up a paragraph that's already pre-written, maybe that has more than this one had. I'll probably already include transition because by then they'll be wonderful at it, and I'll probably already include compound sentences within my writing because by then they'll be more proficient at those, and then as we move forward to adding more types of figurative language and sound words within our writing, yes, I do plan on duplicating this type of lesson.
And have you had a chance to look at the final drafts yet?
Yes, well, I got to, as the children were writing them, the excitement continued to overflow. So every time they added in something, they would come running up to show me, oh, look at this great color word, or oh, look at the simile that I put in, or I added this extra detail. So it was nice. We're going to continue the lesson tomorrow. So that as they're going to finish editing and they're going to bring it right onto a final copy for me because there's so much extensive, the revising, the adding in of sentences and adding in of creative opening and similes, that now we really need to rewrite it out so that we can actually take a better look at it, and then on that same paper is a checklist of the 8 things that they said that needed to be checked off, so then they'll re-look at it and make sure it's there in their own writing.
So that's all I have. Do you have any additional reflections, comments that you would like me to put into the observation?
No, not really, but the only thing that I was surprised about is when the kids said vivid verbs, it actually was not what I expected them to say. When I thought of the pieces that they were adding in, I thought that they would say compound sentences as one idea and then complex sentences as a separate idea. And even when they mentioned creative opening, I also didn't expect creative ending, which is why I put them both on the same line on the paper. I expected compound sentences to be one, complex sentences to be another, similes to be another, and those were the 3 big highlights that are the newest 3 to really incorporate in. And I was shocked when they said vivid verbs, and I didn't want to turn it down because we discuss vivid verbs while we're reading, but we have not been, we have not been changing our verbs as of now. We've actually changed nouns, common nouns to proper nouns to make our writing more specific. So when the vivid verbs came up, it caught me off guard because we've only done it as a reading lesson. We haven't even done pre-writing lessons. So that did catch me, and I added it, even though I didn't want, it's not that I didn't want to, even though I was a little concerned because I'm not even clear that they could find action verbs in their writing. So to find an action verb and then change it to a vivid verb would be something that's a big stretch for a lot of the kids, but then I also had to change it on the checklist for the next day's lesson where I added that in just to make sure, but I think that will be the biggest stretch and the hardest part of the lesson for them because we have not really covered vivid verbs.
Well, it's only November.
Yeah.
So excellent, that's all I have.
Okay.
I'm going to write this up, get this to you within the next 2 days, 1 or 2 days.
Alright.
Look it over, and then if you agree with it, you can sign it, get it back to me, and then that will go in your file. But otherwise, great job.
I think I'll sign it to acknowledge receipt, whether I agree with it or not.
Yes. Okay. Excellent.
No problem.
But thank you, Mr. Trainer.
Okay.
Have a good day.